Just waiting for a minute, and then I'll turn a brighter light on and we'll get started. I just wanted to make sure there wasn't too much of a glare here to begin with. Hello, Ellie. How are you tonight? I'm glad you're able to join in for our Throwback Thursday this week. I'm going to turn my other light on here now and get rid of some of these shadows, hopefully. Hello, Kim. So tonight for Throwback Thursday, we are going to be creating with this fun baby set here called Lookout World. This one was originally released back in 2024. Sorry, I know there's a bit of a glare on the shiny packaging here, but we're going to start with this set here tonight. We're going to work with this little guy or girl who is holding a teddy bear. So today I was trying to figure out what shall we do for our card today. And I thought we'll play with a couple of stencils, and we'll also play with a couple of our inks. Now I've already stamped my image out, but I've used our Wicked Black ink to stamp my image. And then I thought we should, I hope I have this written down right, Kim, correct me if I'm wrong, the ink of the month is Amazing Azure. So I thought, why not pull that out, but we're going to pair it up with Charming Chartreuse. So it's not going to quite look how Amazing Azure looks straight off the ink pad, but we're going to combine it and kind of layer it and get a different look there. Thanks, Kim. I was actually just about to do that. I, for once, had the links to the products all up on different tabs so that I could quickly copy them. But if you can do that, that's great. Well, I copied it down wrong. Never mind. Guess what, guys? We're not using the ink of the month this week or this month, but we're going to use last month's ink of the month. Sorry. I write it down on my calendar and that I keep above my desk here. That has like all the names of if we're releasing sets, and I plot out all my projects that I have to have due for the month on there. And I guess I was a month behind when I wrote the ink of the month there, because I have a little column where I always write ink of the month and all the other things. So sorry. Oh, mix them up. Oh, so anyways, whatever. We're going to use Amazing Azure. It doesn't matter if it's the ink of the month or not. It's a beautiful color. However, I will say Mostly Melon is beautiful, but it will not work with what I'm going to do because it'll just kind of go muddy. So we're going to work with these colors instead here. So it won't be, it'll be our regular price there, but make sure to check out the inks category on the site there. Gotcha. Okay. All right. Anyways, this is what we're going to create with tonight. So the stencils that I grabbed out to use are our original ovals and the Lots of Love stencil. So if you don't have these, check them out in the store. Kim, since you're there, I mean, I have them up handy where I can post the links, but if you're able to, that would be great too. Just let me know, because like I said, I have them listed on different tabs on my browser here. But you could use any of our stencils that are kind of the shapes like this that like block out, and you've got both the cutout where you can use like the negative spaces, or it's also got the pieces that were cut out so that you can use those too, and we are going to. Beautiful, Kim. Look at that. Kim is always spoiling you guys with sales, and so now both these stencils apparently are going to be on sale too. So if you don't have them, add them to your cart now. So let's get started. What I've done in advance here with our stamp set here is I've just stamped this little guy out here in Wicked Black. So I've got him on, I'm just going to use markers tonight. So I've got him on paper, whatever marker paper you like to use. But I did want to point out how cute this set is in that it has all these adorable little accessory stamps. And I was going to try to use them, but it didn't quite work. I might use some of them like just kind of inside the card. We'll see. We'll see what I want to do here, because they might be cute to just kind of add something to the inside there. But this is the image that we're going to use tonight. If you wanted to use one of the other ones, you're free to do that too. So I'm going to move that out of the way. And as I said, I stamped this character out here in our Wicked Black ink, available again in the shop. Just make sure to go to the ink section. These inks are great, be it marker, watercolor, pencils, whatever you might choose to use. This ink is great for all of those purposes. And then I am using a 5.5 by 4.25 inch card base. So I've just done a white card base here in advance, have that ready to go. And then that gave you a sneak peek of what we're going to do there, but that was my sample anyway. So we're going to get to that. That's what we'll end up with. So I have picked out, and I already know this is going to work because I had done a little sample ahead of time there. But I've stamped or cut out, pardon me, just a piece of matting layer cardstock. I always go by 1/8 of an inch increments, so whatever increment you choose to go with your matting, but I go by 1/8. And then I've got another piece of just white cardstock here that again is another 1/8 of an inch on all sides, smaller, so that we'll have that matting layer to go on our white card base. However, this will not stay white because we're going to work on that first, I think. So I'm going to put these things aside for now. And you'll also want to get some sort of ink blending tool. I'm just going to use my, an ink blending tool. I don't really know what else that one would be called. If you have brushes, that's fine too. And then I've just got a couple sponge dauber tops here. One for my blue, which doesn't look totally blue anymore because I kind of mixed it with some of the green, but that's okay. And then you'll want your Amazing Azure ink and your Charming Chartreuse ink. So what we'll do here is, like I said, you can get out, if you have a stencil that is the shapes like that. I like using these to highlight things, or spotlight, I guess I should say. So I'm going to get the base of this out, and I'm going to be using this medium size one. So the second size down there, that's what one I'm going to be using. And so then I also am going to want to pull out the coordinating cutout piece there. Okay, so I'm going to pull in my Make Art magnetic thing. I don't know if you can still get these. I'm sure lots of people have like different types of magnetic platforms here. And I've just got a scrap piece of paper, as you can see, has been used for lots of different things here. Those are actually the ducks that come with this set. I was kind of stamping them out just to see how that would look. So the first thing I'm going to do is take our Charming Chartreuse ink, and I'm going to just put the green all over this white piece of cardstock. And I am just gonna, sorry, take my sweatshirt off here because I almost leaned in my ink pad earlier, and I don't want to do that because I like that sweater. That actually came from my trip out east. I got it in PEI last year. Just grabbing a sip of coffee and let's go. So we're going to use that Charming Chartreuse ink here. I'm not going to zoom in yet. Yeah, they are fun. I like them for that purpose. So we're just going to go right over our cardstock here with that Charming Chartreuse ink. Charming Chartreuse is one of my favorite greens. It's one of our older colors and I love it. I use it a lot. So we'll just, like I said, get a pretty even coverage. And my thing with these ink blending tools, sometimes you kind of get a little bit of a round mark from it, but it's okay because what we're going to end up doing is going to kind of disguise that anyways. Sorry about the little bit of shaking. Can't really be helped with all the movement with the ink blending here. But generally, if you start off your piece of paper and start moving in towards the center, you'll be less likely to end up with those hard edges from your from your tool. So again, just getting a fairly even coverage here. It's pretty good. I'll just maybe get a couple more spots here. I think that'll do. Maybe a little bit more down at this end here, not too much. Okay, and then I'm going to take that sponge top off, and I'm just going to move that ink out of the way a little bit, and I'm going to open that Amazing Azure and get that ready. So what I'm going to do here is I am going to take out the negative piece here, or I guess it would be the negative piece, but anyways, that cutout piece. And I'm going to try as close as I can to center that on my piece of paper there. And then over top of that, I am going to, let me just think, am I doing this the same way I did it before? Yes. I'm going to lay down my heart stencil right over top there. Now, just to keep that piece still in the center there, I'm going to put one of my magnets there, and then I'll put my other ones here, but I will kind of move them around as I'm working with the Amazing Azure ink. And then I'm just going to hold to make sure, again, that we are keeping it steady, because I don't have a magnet up in this corner here, so I'm just going to go carefully. I almost dipped it in my green. And I just did it again, but I did it off screen. I'm going to move my Charming Chartreuse out of the way and put my Amazing Azure closer because I keep dipping it in the wrong one. And I'm just going to slowly build up. Be careful on this side here because, like I said, I don't actually have a magnet holding it down. How is everybody doing? What have you guys been up to? What's new and exciting in your world? The weather's been kind of crazy. Some really hot days, some warm days. Lots of rain the last couple days, which we needed. But it's so nice because everything's green, and I planted my planters with annuals, and it's nice because they're all really filling out beautifully. Whoops, hopefully that didn't mess up. Let's move this over here. When are kids out of school officially? I don't have any little ones, so, but I know the school buses are still running. I would imagine probably within the next week or so they'll be out for the summer. Move my magnets as I go. Okay. All right. I think I'm pretty happy with that coverage. So as you can see, instead of what Amazing Azure would look like just plain on the paper like that, it's going to keep a kind of a green hint to it. And I'm playing with fire there. Hello, Tamara. How are you? So let's remove the stencils here. So we'll get rid of our heart stencil here for a minute, and we'll lift up that oval cutout, and you'll see that we're left with this area here. Now, what I ended up doing, I thought it was maybe a little stark, so I then took the other part of my stencil here, and I kind of laid that over top there again. And then here, this is where it would have been smart if I had actually marked out where I had laid this stencil down, like with some reference marks. But I think that I can line it up pretty well there. And I'm gonna stick these magnets down to hold that. And I'm gonna go just really lightly over this area here. Just really lightly. Let's move that out of the way for a second here. And you can see it's just given a really light impression there. And then I'm going to bring this back in here because I'm just going to add some of the Amazing Azure, kind of like in a bit of a halo effect around here. And I'm being careful not to go, I mean, you can block this off with some scrap paper, but I'm just gonna hope that I can do this without having to mask off even more. Okay, let's take a look and see how that looks. Good. All right. Then I'm going to just go around the edges a little bit, just to soften them up a bit with some of the Azure. Okay. I may even actually grab the ink cube here. I can see I did get a little bit of a line there with the ink, but that's okay. Maybe what I'll do is just bring a little bit in like that. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that stencil back again, and I'm going to lay this back over top for a minute. And I'm going to stick my magnets back down, and I'm going to grab a gel pen here, and I'm going to use that just to trace around here. I'm just going to go around a couple of times. Okay, and then let's move that out of the way. Okay, now it's off a little bit, but that's okay because it was when I did it earlier too. And what I ended up deciding to do was to doodle a little bit. So, and I don't know, I just thought, oh, let's kind of do a bit of a leafy design. So I'm going to start just anywhere. And actually I need to take my glasses off for this 1 minute. And then I just kind of alternated and did like little loops to make it look like a leaf. Let me zoom in a little bit maybe. And I just went all the way around, nothing too fancy or precise. close together. So I'm just alternating from one side of that frame to the other. No, you can't see it when my hand is in the way, but when I move it out there, you can see. Frame, yes I am. Just, I like when people do all their different doodling patterns. I get kind of stuck and I don't get that creative with it. There we go. And we'll end. There's a little bit of gap there, but that will end that up nicely there. So the other thing I think that I will do is kind of doodle around the edges a little bit. And I've been liking doing almost like these little, like, 3-petaled flower kind of doodle marks in my corners. You guys can doodle however you want. And then I'll go down the edges here to connect these. And maybe I'll do a second line here. Okay. And then we'll go here. And we'll go down here. That one got a little wild on me. That's okay. Doodling after all. Oh, my pen skipped there. There we go. And we'll do this last one here. Okay, so that's kind of our background done. I don't think, look at me with the doodles. So I think that's all we're really going to do for the background. We may add some what's what I'm looking for, like enamel dots or something to it after. But that's it, really. I don't know, lately I've been finding I'm kind of building the card before I color the image. So the other thing I'm going to do, I picked out this color of card. Let me just zoom back out a little bit. I picked out this color of cardstock, which is close to what I need, but not quite. I want to add a little bit of the azure to it. Actually, sorry, let me grab that magnetic platform back in here again for a sec, because I think what I'll do is I'll go in and just ink up the edges a bit, just so it's a little closer to the color that we created. I'm just going around the edges. Sorry about the shaking again. I'm making my whole table shake with my inking. Okay. In case anybody is mistaking Kim's comment there, I know that when she said play football, she's meaning what we would call here soccer, but yeah, England it's football. So I haven't been watching any of that. I'm actually surprised because, like, not that Dean follows it really closely, but he's always been a soccer guy. Like when he was younger, he played soccer, and then when our kids were young, he coached their soccer teams. And so because of that, then I got into watching it at that point. So, okay, let's just stick all this together so that that part of it's ready to go. And then we'll get to coloring our little baby. I decided to, okay, I know this is not a new series, but I decided to finally start watching Vikings. I had actually started a while ago, and then, I don't know, I just kind of forgot and had stopped watching it, but now I've been binging it like crazy, so I had squeezed in another episode of that before we started our live here. I'll probably watch another episode after as well. So let's just get this stuck onto our card base. And make sure that that card's opening the right way. Yes, it is. And there we go. All right. And we can set that out of the way for a minute, and that will be ready to add. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and, I should have done this maybe before I actually stuck the whole thing together, but why don't we go ahead and we'll put our sentiment on here as well. This set comes with a lot of fun little sentiments, and I am going to use the one that says, "Hi, I'm new here." So I'm just gonna go ahead and secure my base down there, and I'm going to grab that sentiment from the set here, and I'm just going to put it right in here. And we're going to ink that up with Wicked Black. I did say Vikings. I know you had watched that before. And Dean and my son Nathan, or our son Nathan, I should say, had watched it before too, but I had not. So I am quite enjoying it. I don't like it as much as Last Kingdom. I loved Last Kingdom, but I do like it. I think I'm in the 3rd season. I don't know how many seasons there are. I forgot to look, but I'm pretty sure I'm in the 3rd season. There we go. Okay, I'm going to just quickly clean that stamp off here. Kim, can you still get this stamp cleaner? I know, sorry, this is when I'm supposed to be just making cards here, but I'm just wondering if, yeah, Ragnar's pretty good. It is. And I had, because I had a while back read the Shadow of the Gods series by John Gwynne, I was kind of just, feeling the whole Viking kind of Norse vibe. So I thought, well, I might as well watch this. You did. Awesome. I thought I had asked you before about that. So amazing. Thank you. Because I'm down to like the last little bit in here. Okie doke. I often use it just to like clean off my stencils too. Sorry, I'm just trying to move stuff out of my way. So this is our card base ready, and we just have to color our little guy now. I did not realize it had started. Is it on Prime? I'm going to have to start watching it. I've been in a trader's withdrawal, kind of. So I'm just going to pull out some markers here. I'll move you guys in closer here in a minute, too. Sorry, I should have these all pulled out ahead of time. Why can't I find what I need? Why do I seem to be missing one of the markers that I need? I just cleaned it, so I know, and filled it, so I know it's in here. Oh my goodness. Where is it? There it is. Okie doke. On Crave. Sorry, that's what it's on. Crave, yeah. 6 episodes are up. Okie doke. Well, now I don't know which I'm going to do. Okay, I'm zooming us in. Zoom, zoom, zoom. Let me see how close that is. Just waiting for the delay there. That's very close. So you have to see all my little places where I'll probably color out of the lines. But it's nice and close. Sunday, nice and Monday. Okie doke. Also, there's nothing quite so humbling as zooming in and realizing that your hands are looking really old. So anyways, I'm going to go in. I'm just going to use Copics. I may use a couple of Ohuhu depending on if I can find the right color for doing the clothes on the little baby here. So I'm just going to go in with some E000 just to start to mask off where I'm going to go. Not mask, mark off. Okay, and then a little bit of a belly showing here. And there's an arm and the legs. It's a wee tiny little image, so it won't take too long to color here. E00 here. So again, this is Lookout World. Perfect for anybody who's expecting a baby, because you always need a fun card to go along with your baby shower gifts. Going with a little E11. I'm kind of imagining the light coming from up here. Been trying to pull my markers out a little bit more lately because I don't use them as much as I used to. A little bit of E04. Get frustrated with my markers because, well, I don't have all of the refills, so I've got a lot that are dry and need to be refilled, but probably some that need their nibs replaced, and I don't know, I just like I said, they just I think it's because I have to give them a little bit of maintenance, which is my own fault. But I also, I need to get some refills. Where is everybody shopping for those now in Canada and Ontario? Back to the E11 here. I used to go to Curry's a lot of the time. That's not really a thing anymore. The E11 under the nose. Go back to my E00. And it bugs me with the refills too, because like they're more expensive and there's less in them now. I haven't bought any of the new refills yet. I guess they're not that new anymore, but I'm just like, as if these things weren't expensive enough. That being said, I'm always supportive of buying good quality art supplies, but they are very expensive. That being said, like the Ohuhus, I will use them. I don't find I can blend very well with them. So I like to use them sometimes in conjunction with, or if it's just like a little area where I don't need to like build up a lot of layers. Unless I just haven't found the right paper for them yet. Copacabana. Is that, I'm assuming, just online, eh? Just back to the E00. And I'll go back a little bit more to the E11. A little bit of E04. Okay, I'll have to check them out. A little bit of that E04 under the nose. Just a little bit. And just soften it with some E11. And then back to the E00. Oh, I'm almost off the frame. Sorry, guys. Is anybody coloring along tonight? Or are you coloring something else? Sometimes when I'm creating, I like to turn on other videos, and it might not be exactly what I'm trying to do in the moment, but I like to listen to people while they're coloring or painting. I like to put on painting videos. You'll notice I always kind of leave my highlighted areas white towards the end, and then I start to come in and fill those areas in. I'm not being terribly careful, I'll be honest, about going over the lines here, just because I know I'm going to do these kind of in a color similar to what we did the background in, so it'll cover up any of these skin color. And also the outer lines, I'm going to fussy cut this little baby out, so I don't have to be that precise. I can be a little bit messy. Whoops. Well, let's color that nose. I waited for the nose till the end here just because I wanted to make sure like these kind of shadowy marks that I did were a little bit more dry, so that the paper didn't like end up taking this dark and blowing it out and making it look all messy. Okie doke. I am going to take a little fine liner, and I'm going to give him little pupils. And I'm going to just make sure that that's dry before I color in the eyes. I'm going to move that skin color marker out of the way here. And let me see what I can figure out will look nice with this. I'm just going to swatch a couple of colors out. I could have done this ahead of time too, I guess. That's not bad, actually. That's BG23. That's pretty close. Oh, I'm not even on screen. 5-0. Is that for your football game? I think. Yeah, I think that'll look good. So that's BG23. But let's find something to blend with that. What about this BG49? That could work. With maybe a little bit of tip to tip. And let me just swatch this one too. That one's, oh, maybe that's better. This is BG34. Yeah, actually that's better. Or unless we use the three of them. How does this work as a mid? Yeah, actually, we'll go with those 3. So let's go with his little diaper here. And again, this is BG34 if you're interested. Sorry, Ellie, are you asking what colors we used for the skin? This is BG23. Because I can tell you right now, and you can jot them down. I think I mentioned them when I was coloring. Just let me know if that's what you meant there. Oh, okay. So the colors we used were E000. Here, hold on. Do I have a scrap piece of paper? So I used E000, E00, E11, and E04. And that was for the skin. And then for this, I'm using, what did I say there? BG34, BG23, and BG49. And we're going to see how these work. Okay, here, let me see if that's in frame there, and then you can write those down. That's still not in frame. How's that? It's because I zoomed in so much. And it's still not on there. And it's still not on there. There we go. I think that's better. Okay. I'm going to move that out of the way probably in a minute here. Copics are definitely expensive, but they are very good. And like I said, I bought a set of the Ohuhu, and I do like them for kind of working with some of the Copics, but I have yet to be able to get the depth of blending and like the smoothness of blending, because I just find I don't know, they just don't, I can't get the smooth blends that I do with Copic. Like when I'll put another ink color down, I feel like it almost dilutes what was on the paper, kind of erases it. And I find, at least with the paper and the way I color, they tend to bleed a little bit more. But I really like having them because like I can use them with my Copics. And so sometimes I might use them as like a base color, and then I'll use my Copics to like to go in and add some more shading. No problem. You're welcome. I have like the E04 wasn't always my go-to for the skin shading. I used to use, oh shoot, which one was it? RV, I'm forgetting what it is, but I don't have a refill for it, and it's been dead for a while, and I don't even have it in my thing, in my case here, and I can't believe I'm forgetting which color it was. I like it better than the E04, but E04 works in a pinch. Now, how's that looking? I think that'll do. I am going to maybe try to do a green for his top. That's looking kind of like maybe a YG11. Hold on. That might be a little bright just because we muted it a bit. Nope, actually that's going to work just nicely. So YG11, that's going to need filled soon, I can tell. That one I do have. But what can I shade it with? Let me just see. This is YG23. I'll shade it with some of that. Okay. I won't give him little green shoes too. Why not? The only thing that's not going to perfectly color coordinate with that background is going to be that little bear. This is YG23. I'll write those colors down here in a second. I feel like I need something just a little darker. YG24. No, that's too gray. Will G07 work? Yeah, let's do a little bit of G07. I'm not going to get too fussy with him because he is just a wee little guy. There's not a lot of room to do a ton of blending. Okay, so those colors were, whoops, YG11, YG23, and G07. Now I may, let me just see here for a sec. Let me just see, because I've got this one. Ohuhu that I like sometimes for doing shadows. So this is RG150. And let's just use it just sparingly for a little bit of shadow there. And I'm just going to go back in. Blend that out one more time. And I just realized I didn't really shade his bottom of his shoes. So just going back in with the green combo here. Now that Ohuhu is kind of the equivalent, I think it was like a BV23, but, or similar to it, but I don't, is it BV23? Or BV, so I've got this BV31, which is much more purple, but I feel like that's not going to quite work just with these darker colors here. So let's just give a little more there. There we go. All right, now let's give him some blue eyes. I'm not going to write these numbers down here, but we'll go BG01. And then I'm going to go BG05, just at the top of his eyes here a little bit. And then just back to that BG01 just to, whoops, not the chisel tip. Just for a little bit of a gradient there. Okie doke. Now I have to do this little bear, and I got to do his ears, or sorry, his little tuft of hair there as well. I didn't really think this one out. I think, let me see. Let's start with E33. And because it's just got these two little bits of hair, I'm not really going to do any shading on his hair. So we'll just give him a little tuft of brown hair there. Okay. And then I'm going to just try kind of doing little squiggles for the bear here. I'm trying for like a fluffy look. We'll see if this works. So kind of little dots and squiggles. And then I'm going to go in, that was E33. I think I'm going to go lighter here. So we'll go E33. I'm going to grab E37. Whoops, that's supposed to be, that's supposed to be E37. Let me just find it here. And again, just kind of like dots and squiggles here. And I'm doing it in areas of shadow or where I think is going to be kind of shadowy. There's not a lot of room on this little bear. And we'll see if this works out. And then we'll go in with some E31. And I'm just kind of dabbing in over top a little bit just to soften some of those marks. I know you can't really see. No problem, Melly. Thanks for coming for a little bit anyways. And then I think I'll try E50. If I can find it. Where is it? Nope, that's not it. There it is. And again, like I said, just kind of a stippling, dabbing motion. I don't care if I go over the eyes and the nose here because I'll go over those after with a darker color. Okay, and we'll just kind of keep up with this technique here. I'm going to go back to the E33. I'll go back to the E37. So I guess I can fill in here E31 and we'll put it here, E50. Where are my other colors there? Kim, where are they at in the tournament? Like, are they nearing the end? I'm going to go back to E31. And just kind of dabbing, sort of pouncing over top there. And I'll go in with the E50. I'll just go back to the E31 there a little bit. I don't know if he quite ended up with the fluffy texture that I was hoping for, but that's okay. E37 again. And maybe just a little bit more E33. And back in with that E50. Okay, I've just got to let that teddy bear dry a little bit before I do his features, because right now I've got a lot of ink on there, and if I put that, because I'm using quite an absorbent paper here, if I go ahead and already put down that like a color for his nose and his eyes, it's just going to blow out. I'm just putting a little bit of that oh-hoo-hoo kind of reddish gray in here, just as a little bit more shadow. And that was a little too much right there, so just blending it out again with a little bit of the Copics. Yeah, I definitely didn't end up with the texture that I had been planning on, but that's okay. I'm okay with that. And just that E50 again. Okay. I do have to, like I said, let the face of that dry, but in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fussy cut. But I'm going to take my glasses off so I can see a little better here. Dean and I went to a Toronto FC game a few years ago. It was my birthday present to him one year, and we had a lot of fun at that. I wouldn't mind going again to a game sometime, because yeah, like I said, it was a lot of fun. I know that that's not the Toronto team playing. I'm just saying that I've been to a football game in Toronto, and it was a lot of fun. Are we getting down near like the semifinals, or where are we at in the tournament? What should we talk about while I'm fussy cutting? Sorry, this is the most boring thing to watch. And I can't even see your comments right now because I took off my my glasses so I could see a little better for cutting. They're my distance correction glasses, and I managed to do the marker coloring okay, but I'm like, I'm going to chop the bear's head off if I keep these glasses on while I cut. Almost done. Whoops, I think I cut up into his little diaper there a bit. Okay, let me just get rid of that. Okay, and just grabbing a marker here, like a brush tip marker, a black one, just to go around the edge of my image here. Just because I don't like that white paper core showing through after I fussy cut. If you colored in no lines technique, I would just use the coordinating Copic for the area that I'm doing. Like I would use a skin color here and like the brown for the teddy bear here. But because I stamped in Wicked Black, it just makes it easy to go around with a black marker. You don't want to use anything too juicy so it doesn't like bleed into your shaded areas. Yeah, I cut up into his little diaper a little bit there. Oh well. Okay, almost done. Okay, now I'm going to go in with, actually I think I might just go in with that fine liner and just do the bear's nose here. Am I leaning in? Didn't know if you were getting a big shot of my head there. Let's just touch up his little mouth there again. And let me grab a white gel pen to see if it's even working. Okay. Add little highlights in his eyes. Sorry, I know you can't see when I'm got my hand in the way there. But we'll do little highlights on the bear's nose and eyes as well. I'm going to move this color list out of the way there. And there's our little gaffer all colored up. I think I'm going to pop him up on some foam squares. Let me just move my markers out of the way here. Okay, let me just find my foam squares. Okay. Hopefully that gel pen is dry, and I'm just going to put a little bit of glue. Because I like to have a little something extra on there for the squares to adhere to. Whoops. Of these big ones there, and then this one does come with some smaller ones as well, but I'm going to cut them even smaller. Is that going to show? Yes. See if I can, yeah, reposition that a little bit better. And then a couple of really small pieces here. for down by the feet. And we'll get needs another little piece in there. And I'm just going to put a little bit more there. Okay, now we just got to get the backing off. Should I use tweezers? Probably, but I'm just using my scissors like tweezers because they're here and they're handy and it works just as well in my opinion. Come on. Two more. Okay. Move that out of the way, and then I'm going to grab my glue again. Thanks, Kim. And I just like to add a little bit of glue to the foam, just so that if it does start to lose some of its own adhesive, it will still stick. So we'll pop him up like that. And then I'm just trying to decide if I want to add any enamel dots, but I don't think I want to. I'm going to zoom out a bit. And what do you guys think? And by guys, I mean Kim, because I think you're the only one who's still here with me. I think that looks not too bad. And honestly, you could give this, whether or not you know it's a baby girl or a baby boy coming, because, I mean, greens could go either way, and teal. I mean, I do think it leans maybe a little more towards a little boy, but, yeah, so there's our card all finished. So just as a recap here, the stamp set that we used, I'm going to try to get all of this in, because I know Emily does our reels for us. And I'm going to try to fit the products all in here. And then, well, maybe the glare is not too bad. What else did we use? Where did I put them and why can't I find my stencils? Oh, they're on the floor. Let's see here. I'll just do it this way without the packaging here. So we used our original, I keep wanting to say original olive because we have an ink called original olive. I'll do it this way just because that's the size that we used. But it's our original ovals stencil. We also used our lots of hearts stencil. Okay. This gets challenging, you know, when I use a whole bunch of products. But I know Emily likes to do like a little thumbnail for us. So we'll put our Charming Chartreuse ink here. We had Amazing Azure, and we also used our Wicked Black ink. Kim, how does that look? Will that work for Em? I think it will. Big shout out to Emily and a thank you for doing our reels and everything for us. I hope you guys enjoyed. It was a quick and pretty simple card tonight. We did that in 1 hour and 10 minutes. That's probably one of the fastest videos I've ever done in my history of working for Kim, because I usually take a lot longer. But you know what? You don't have to take a long time to put together a really cute card that someone's going to love. I had thought about maybe doing something on the inside, but I think we're just going to leave it at that for tonight. Make sure to check out in the shop for the products that we use. Kim also put these 2 stencils on sale, which was not expected, so that's a bonus for sure. But you can find the links. Kim had put them in the chat there. And then what I'll do is get this loaded up to YouTube shortly as well. If not tonight, tomorrow, and that way it will be available for those of you who want to watch it on replay, because it's only on Facebook for 30 days. So if you're ever wondering where any of our videos went to that were on Facebook, just hop on over to our Kraftin Kimmie Stamps YouTube channel to catch them there. Kim also has linked in the group each month. She kind of highlights all the things happening for the month, for challenges, etc. So make sure to check out there. You can also see the schedule for upcoming Throwback Thursdays. I'm not sure who's up next. I forgot to look, but you can get all the products. Kim puts them usually on sale anyways. Lets you know the stamp sets. I shouldn't say all the products, sorry. The stamp sets that are going to be used for Throwback Thursday. So that way you guys can maybe order them in advance and stamp along. Or if you like what you saw during the videos, you can add it to your cart and get yourself a little treat. Thank you so much for joining, and I hope you guys all have a wonderful rest of the week and weekend. Take care. Bye.